Welcome to the tapings before lockdown. You know, it's been a while since TNA's actually done a pay-per-view. They just let the thing go. In a sense, it's actually very good. You know why? Because people are seeing it normally. It's just regular tapings. But I have to admit, I am going to miss Genesis, Lockdown, Slammiversary, and Bound for Glory. I really believe they really need to do some pay-per-views. Let those be the only pay-per-views you do. And let it be that way. But I guess they decided, you know what, we're on a new network. There's no way people are just going to see us normally. So we're going to leave it alone. Maybe next year to bring it back. Like I said before, give them about 6 months to see if they've actually learned something doing what they're doing. That's where I see it. Now, was this show good? It was good enough that it was passable. It actually was good in several spots. I'm going to get to the triple threat for the Knockouts Championship. Now, I could start with the beginning of it, but I don't want to do that right now. Seeing Terrence Terrell, Gail Kim, and Madison Rayne. Well, I know not everyone likes Madison Rayne. I know the Slag Daddy rather see as a goat or something like that. But I'll give it to you like this. You got 3 women in the ring. That 2 of those 3 look very good, while the third one looked average. That's Madison Rayne. If you're a Madison Rayne fan, I'm just being honest here. She doesn't have a very good character. She's decent in the ring, but she's not great. Terrence Terrell is much better than Madison Rayne. Gail Kim, who botches a lot, is still better than Madison Rayne. So when you bring 2 good women and one average to sometimes below average, you actually get a good match. This was a good match, and what made it best for me personally was that Madison Rayne didn't botch so much. She decently worked. She did a DDT and a diamond cutter at the same time. I'm not a Madison Rayne fan, but I will say that was impressive. It was done decently, but guess what? She actually hurt herself in the process anyway. She didn't hold herself. In the end, Terrence Terrell won. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, well, what happened to Kong? What happened to Havoc? Well, you know, next week they're going to have that match in the steel cage. And I got to say this before I go any further. Finally, we get a lockdown that actually promotes the 6-sided ring of steel. The 6 sides of steel, as I say it, but I'm saying the 6-sided rings of steel. It's actually not bad to see. I'm glad they're promoting just steel cage matches in a show that talks about steel cage. It's like, think about Hell in a Cell. You only have 1 Hell in a Cell match. Why not have 6 Hell in a Cell matches? All of them in a Hell in a Cell. In this case, you're almost getting everything in the 6-sided ring with steel cage around it. I'm actually interested in seeing this. And that leads me to the Monsters Ball. I'm going to get it over with, because it does lead to something I did not address the last time. When you see Jeff Hardy versus The Abyss, this was just building up for next week, which is going to be Jeff Hardy and Matt versus The Abyss and James Storm. Now, if anyone's seen the spoilers, hearing that they're going to go to UK after this show, it's understandable why Jeff Hardy has to look really hurt, because I did see some of the videos where Jeff took a really hard bump trying to sell it, and they did show it on impact where he hit the steel steps pretty hard. Doesn't mean he got really hurt, but it doesn't mean it was a good bump either. That kind of been a little bit of a harder bump than normally a person would take. So I'm not interested in seeing this match. It was average. Seeing the Evolution come in and then seeing Matt Hardy with the kendo stick, that was average. Now, seeing this match next week is probably going to be above to average. For the simple reason, it is in a steel cage and it's going to be a tag match. We don't normally see them often. So I will be interested in seeing it. Now, the match that I'm very interested in seeing, Rockstar Spud and Mark Mandrew. I may do a debate in a week on these guys, seeing how far they get, but it won't be this one. It's going to be someone else I will talk about next. But Mandrew and Spud dealing with EC3 and Tyrus, I really can't stand Tyrus's beard. He looks like a Amish, and a terrible looking one at that. Because his beard looks terrible. He needs a hat. That kind of makes me think of The Undertaker, but you get my point. It just doesn't suit him. Get rid of the beard, Tyrus, please. I wish he would just change his attire. He looks just like the Funkasaurus. If he went to a different type of clothing, maybe wearing like a bouncer's clothes, just coming in gear like he regularly would wear in the street, would actually do better for him because he is a bodyguard. I really believe it would be better. But this is a situation. Spud and Mandrew versus the bromance without no Velvet Sky. Now, I'm alright with not having Velvet there. Yeah, she has a beautiful face. She has nice boobs. That's what Angelina Love is there for. And I'm glad that she's still working with the man. The bro man. I can't sell that. They're terrible. The match was short, sweet, and to the point. Fine. But afterward was the epic part. Seeing beforehand that the hardcore American icon pretty much said, I refuse. Crossing his eyes. I can't do that. I'll probably stick together. But you get my point. EC3 is selling this well. This is still building up, and I believe this. I really believe this in all of my heart. That Slammiversary is going to be Spud versus EC3 by themselves. This is what I believe. They've been trying to build this as much as they can for Spud. Spud is well over. Mandrew is going to be coming along with him. They're going to be a tag team, but finally, you're going to see Spud versus EC3 at Slammiversary. If they drag this to Bound for Glory, it's stupid. They need to get the payoff by Slammiversary, which is June or July. I think that's the best time to do it. And the beatdown was alright. Mandrew looked alright. Jeremy didn't come out, which I think was not alright. I think it would have been better if he came down to the ring, but it would have taken off of them. So it's okay. Now, the Magnus and Bram segment. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are not going to be too fond of this. Even though the ending was pretty good. Because now Magnus has the title opportunity for the tag teams, and he doesn't have anybody to work with. He's not with his might. But if you saw for what this was, I really believe it was a very good segment. And they got more than they're going to do it in a year. So I don't have to worry about Magnus getting the tag titles. The question's going to be, how far are they going to go with the feud between Bram and Magnus? They could have done this months upon months ago, but you know how TNA was. They didn't want to do it. So now they're doing it, and they promoted it very well. The lighting was pretty good. Was it good for Magnus to go down like in a locked up area? I think it would have been better, even though the lighting was okay, that it was a dark area. If they'd done this down a dark alley, it would have been perfect. But of course, this is New York. They're not crazy enough to go down a dark alley. So this is what you get. I will be doing Debate of the Week on Magnus next. Watch for it. Now, the last thing, well, second to last thing. Eli and Tommy Dreamer. I almost wanted to leave this out, but it's understandable why they did this. The reason I wanted to leave this out because I really didn't want to involve Dreamer in this, because Dreamer is always brought back to try and bring someone in, and then he gets drawn into it, and then TNA has an old ECW guy that does not need to be there because then he doesn't get the guy they really need to get over. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, we don't care about the guy they're trying to get over. We want to see Tommy. We'd rather see someone like Sandman, a Raven. Hell, if they can bring back... No, I'm not going to even go there. Because if I start mentioning his names, I'll leave it at that. But I really hope, with everything in me, that they do not drag out a conflict between Dreamer and Eli. This was just setting it up for Rude. I'm kind of getting things kind of mixed up because I'm thinking of doing a Debate of the Week on Drew McIntyre. But the thing is, it went well. The pile driver was done well. The segment afterward where Eli started beating up on people was okay. It wasn't great, but he's not a great face. He's not a great heel. I'm talking about Eli. He's a good face or a good heel, but he's not great. He's just good at both. And I'm alright with that. But he's still entertaining no matter what you give me. Now finally, sorry for the clapping, I gotta stop doing that. Lashley versus Aries versus MVP and versus Root. Good match. It was. But when it comes down to it, setting up for Lockdown. And even though Lashley won, did we win anything? I think we did. You know why? Because you can do anything you want with the Lockdown match with Angle going against MVP's team. But seeing that Lashley does not immediately join them makes it better. Particularly in the beginning of the show, Lashley spoke very, very short. They finally understand Lashley's not a good talker. Make it very brief, very short. That's why this match was done. And I'm glad they did that. Lashley said, no, I'm not involved in this. He walks off. It doesn't mean he's a heel. It doesn't mean he's turning face. It doesn't mean he's turning heel. He's just as he was when he went to the match. He is a face, but you get my point. Will he be in a Lockdown match? He probably will, and that's going to be stupid enough to bring someone in. Somebody else. But he will be in the match. And I'll say this show wasn't bad at all. Admittedly, I didn't want to see the Monsters Ball match. I don't, but I understand the reason why it's being set up. The Knockouts match was the best match of the night. I know you're going to say, what? Yes, it was. It was the best match of the night. And hearing people say better than Divas makes me feel very good in heart, even though there are not enough knockouts to make it work. But this is my review, and I hope you enjoyed this week in Impact. Please give me a comment below and watch for my Magnus debate of the week. And will he get far? See ya!